Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm making an art journal spread and I want to use one of the collage fodder embellishments I shared in my last video on Saturday. And I don't know which one I'm going to use. I hope one of them will fit this page. And I'm starting out with some acrylic inks. And the journal I'm using is a super cheap journal from the Action store here in Europe. And I did not prime the page, so it's just purely on the paper. I really like this journal. It does not have the best quality paper, but I don't mind that because if I need some more strength, I would just prime it with gesso. And mainly I'm using collage for the background, not today, but quite often. And that always gives my paper a good surface to work on in the end, so I don't mind the paper quality. I love that this journal is laying flat and I love the size of it. I'm now going in with the raw sienna. Everything on my camera looks a bit more greener than it is. It's not like it is in real life. I have no idea why this happened. It's a bit warmer, I would say, than you can see it here on screen. I will let this dry and then come back. Now my page is dry and I'm going in with some mark making, and here I'm using a blue. I think it's quite a dark blue Derwent Inktense pencil. I just picked that dark blue because it matches the colors on the page, and I made some scribbly marks in a circular shape, just a few, to bring in more interest and texture. Here I'm also using a Neocolor. It is a color, I think it's called green ochre, and I wanted to buy a second one because I would like to take this in my box where which I pick when I draw on location in my sketchbook, but I could not find it, and I'm not sure if this is existing anymore, but I love this color. I'm going through the embellishments, and I think I'm going with that last one you saw here because the colors are perfect. They are similar to the ones on the page, but before I glue this down, I need some more interest and texture on my spread. I'm now using that Art Graf Tailor Shape crayon to make some white splatters on my page. You will find these crayons at Craftelier. I will link them up in the video description. I think you will also get them over on Amazon. I really love the white of them. It's so white. It's the most opaque watercolor white I have ever seen. And I love to use these crayons mainly in my sketchbook. That's the reason why there is an edge of every shape, because I have a bit of it in a smaller box to take this out when I go drawing outside. I'm also using that black this time to bring in a bit more contrast, and also because there is black on the embellishment piece. And that's the reason why I want to have some black on the page as well, so everything looks cohesive in the end. Whilst I'm holding that embellishment, I have a peek through the camera onto the page, because then it is far apart from my eyes and I can see more easy what is missing. And I'm going in with a turquoisey Neocolor, and here I tried to blend that, but the black was still there and was activated, and then I removed it with a baby wipe. I'm going to dry the splatters before I come back to create more textures. I'm using a yellow Neocolor to bring in more marks I really like when I have different textures layered upon each other because that makes something more interesting and it gives the background depth. And I also try to stay cohesive with my color choices. If you are enjoying this video, it would be really nice if you give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. That really helps me to get a better reach on YouTube. I'm linking up the video for the embellishments in the top right corner info cards, and you will find all the products I'm using linked up in the video description. I'm going to stamp some images behind the focal point that I'm going to add, and I'm using the stitching borders. I think this is the one from the Mix It Up #1 stamp set, and I think I also am going to use one from our Mix It Up #5. I really love these borders for background stamping and also to frame something like artist trading cards or index cards. As always, I have linked up the blog post for this spread. In the video description there you can have a look at the close-up images and maybe also save that to your Pinterest board. I also picked the numbers stamp from the Mix It Up #1 because I really like kind of a different texture to bring in more interest. And I'm stamping it in black because, as I said in the beginning, I like to have the black on the background because it's already on my focal image. And I also think the black brings in some really nice neutral contrast against these bright turquoisey and yellowish colors. Unfortunately, the black splatters I've made are mainly under my embellishment piece, so I decided to add some more outside of it. And I'm also coming back in with the white. I think it needs a bit of a light contrast behind the embellishment so that it stands out a little bit more. So I'm going to dry this and then I will add a little bit more collage with an old book page before I am adhering the focal image. I'm using my glue stick to adhere the pieces to my spread. I made a little mess on the right side of my page, and here I'm covering that up with a white gouache stick, but that just mixes a gray. I think it was from the Art Graf, which is water soluble, and so I decided just to cover this up with also a piece of an old book paper. And I really like that because that just picks up the book paper that's under my focal image, and that drives the eyes around the page a little bit more, because there is an element that's just repeating, and I really like when that happens, or really always try to do that. If I have a certain color spot or element on the page, I try to repeat that in another area. And I'm doing the same here with that number stamp. I love when I can add more accents on a finished page or almost finished page, and here I'm using a yellow Posca paint pen to make some more marks. Sometimes I'm overdoing this, I believe, but I enjoy that part so much. I think it's the best part, having a nice spread that you like and then adding some little bits and pieces here and there. And now I will also use a white Posca paint pen and make some kind of a dot pattern from the white center into the colored areas. And to repeat this pattern, I do it also on the left side of the page. Yes, and then my page will be finished. I will share a photo in the end, and you will also find photos on our blog. It's linked up in the video description. I hope you enjoyed today's video and you are inspired, and I hope we will see us next time. Bye!